Did you know that Kaley Cuoco and Johnny Galecki secretly went through underground passages to date without their fellow cast members knowing? Big Bang Theory gained a lot of fame over the years for the humorous storyline and the fun ensemble. But there was way more happening behind the scenes that fans had no idea about. From the secret relationships between the cast members to the origins of their funny words, let's dive into some weird facts you didn't know about the Big Bang Theory. Secret dating. One of the biggest secrets and weirdest facts you didn't know about the Big Bang Theory was the relationship between Kaley Cuoco and Johnny Galecki. They quietly dated for about 2 years, but no one knew about this. During the early seasons of the Big Bang Theory, their on-screen chemistry as Penny and Leonard led to a real off-screen connection. Kaley admitted that she only had eyes for Johnny during season 1, even if they were dating other people at that time. Everyone knows about the iconic season 1 scene set in an elevator shaft, but what they don't know is the weird fact that this is when they both felt the spark. Johnny had said that the spark between them was more of a distraction, and so they could no longer ignore it. Their relationship remained private until Kaley exposed it in an interview, saying that they remained close after the split and that it ended well. In fact, during one Comic-Con trip, they stayed in separate hotel buildings and secretly met each other through underground passages, running back and forth to each other's rooms to avoid others finding out about their secret relationship. But once they broke up, it made all their intimate scenes awkward. Funny enough, the show's creator, Chuck Lorre, seemed to increase their romantic scenes after they broke up, as if he was playfully messing with them. Despite this, they've remained close friends. Kaley and Johnny, as well as the other characters, were mostly seen climbing multiple floors to get to their apartments, but these scenes weren't as flawless as they looked on TV. Staircase filming. The iconic staircase scenes in The Big Bang Theory were mostly used to reach their apartments, and they were often seen chatting or cracking jokes. But one weird fact that you didn't know is that this was filmed using one hallway staircase set on Stage 5 at Warner Brothers. The production team masterfully redressed the single set so that it mimics different floors. They would switch out door numbers, add or remove props like bicycles, plants, water jugs, or even adjust the broken elevator signs and yellow caution tape to differentiate between levels. According to Kunal Nayyar, who played Raj, the filming process involved actors walking down the stairs, freezing when the crew changed the decor to resemble another floor, and then walking the same steps again, creating the illusion of multiple levels. The timing also had to be very precise, as audience laughter sometimes came mid-step, so sometimes dialogue or pacing had to shift to avoid any overlap between floors. This weird fact is something that many fans didn't know. When next you're watching Big Bang Theory, stare at the stairwell scene, as regardless of the supposed floor, it has the same scuff marks and wall sconces. This reveals the secret that the set is actually used over and over again. The stairs were also built by digging into the soundstage floor to accommodate downward steps, making it feel real. Just imagine how difficult it must have been for the actors to keep on going up and down the same set of stairs. But did you know that just below these staircases, one of the actors had a nasty habit of sticking his chewing gum there? Johnny Galecki chewing gum. There were many times when the Big Bang Theory main characters had to climb up and down the stairs because their elevator was broken. But now that you know, that staircase was just a cleverly dressed set that led nowhere. But you have no idea what's below that staircase. Kunal Nayyar, who played Raj, had once disclosed that at the bottom of the single staircase, where the cameras never actually filmed, Johnny Galecki, playing Stuart, had a strange habit of sticking his used chewing gum to the wall. Kunal reveals that this went on for the entire duration of the series, a whopping 12 years. Now, anyone who goes there will see what Kunal described as a wall of 3,000 dried chewing gums. Immediately, mass media outlets picked up the story, as this is one of the weirdest on-set habits ever. Some have said that fans might even try to buy a piece of Johnny's gum as oddball memorabilia. This is one of the weirdest secrets that fans have no idea about the Big Bang Theory. But it's interesting to know that every main character on the show has some musical talents. Musical talents. There's no telling whether they did it intentionally or not, but the Big Bang Theory didn't just deliver laughs, it also showcased real musical chops. Many of the members actually performed their own instrument parts on screen. For instance, Mayim Bialik, who played Amy, learned to play the harp specifically for the role. She actually performed some pieces by herself, like Everybody Hurts and Dead or Alive, although some more complex pieces, like the one at Leonard and Penny's wedding, were mimed. Jim Parsons, who played Sheldon, tackled the most unusual instruments. He actually learned and played the theremin right on camera in the episode The Bus Pants Utilization. He also performed on the piano and played bongos. Johnny Galecki is a real-life cellist, and he didn't hide that while on the show. In the episode titled The Hamburger Postulate, he appears to thoughtfully tune the cello before miming to avoid any live sound issues. Fans noticed that he knew what he was doing while tuning the cello, confirming his ability. Even the actor who played Howard, Simon Helberg, is a trained pianist that has been playing since age 10. His talent is obvious during the Footprints on the Moon band sequences and other musical scenes. And then Kunal Nayyar, played by Raj, showcased his guitar skills, even playing on the show. So the cast members didn't just pretend to play instruments on the show like some fans thought. They genuinely did, whether they learned it for the show or they had been playing the instrument for many years. Still, it adds a lot of authenticity to many of the musical moments on the TV series. Many fans love the scenes where they played instruments, but a true fan will always say Bazinga along with Sheldon. But where does this word come from? Bazinga. Fans might have heard cast members say the word Bazinga during The Big Bang Theory, but one of the weird facts you didn't know is where it came from. The exclamation first made its television debut in the Season 2 finale, The Monopolar Expedition. In this episode, Sheldon says the term 3 times to punctuate his pranks and showcase his cleverness, especially after teasing Leonard. But the origins of this phrase is something you might not expect. Stephen Malaro, the showrunner, revealed that it was the writer Stephen Englil who coined Bazinga during their playful writer's room pranks. Stephen would hollow out a grapefruit, tape it back together, and then offer it to unsuspecting writers exclaiming, "Bazinga!" It was his personal gotcha and captured the comedic tone of the show. One time, a writer added the term to the script. That's what caused Bazinga to become closely related with Sheldon Cooper and the show's humor. Although the term was popular, the creative team was worried about using it too much so that fans won't get tired of it, so they deliberately reduced the use in Season 4 and 5. The phrase's pop culture wasn't only about the show. In 2012, Brazilian scientists identified a new orchid bee species that had been mistaken for another. This reminded them of Sheldon's trick-playful term, since the bee had deceived scientists, so they named it Euglossa bazinga. Ooby-dooby. Just like the catchphrase Bazinga, The Big Bang Theory cleverly used another playful language game in one of their later episodes. Ubby-dubby is a playful language game where you add ub before each vowel sound in a word, so hello becomes hoobalubo. It was popularized by the 1970s PBS children's show Zoom, which aired from 1972 to 1978 and relaunched briefly from 1999 to 2005. On The Big Bang Theory, Penny and Amy use Ooby-dubby in the Season 10 episode The Veracity Elasticity. They secretly converse using this code whenever Sheldon and Leonard switch to speaking Klingon, giving the girls their own linguistic edge. Sheldon's catchphrase wasn't the only thing his character was meant for. He also wore color-coded shirts, but what some don't know is that they reflected his mood. Color-coded shirts. This is a pretty weird fact, but many fans had no idea that they could tell Sheldon's mood by just looking at his t-shirt. His shirt colors subtly reflected his emotional state, inspired by the Green Lantern Corps color spectrum in the DC Comics, where each hue corresponds to a distinct emotion. Each color represents a mood. Whenever Sheldon wore a red shirt, it showed his anger and frustration. This color was seen when Sheldon's boundaries were tested, or his minor routines were disrupted. He also wore green sometimes, showing his willpower or confidence. These were used during Stanton moments, or whenever Sheldon showed emotional strength. Another color that Sheldon sometimes wore was yellow, which revealed fear or anxiety. It appeared when Sheldon was unsettled or scared. And then the color blue indicated hope or calmness, and this was worn during more optimistic or peaceful scenes. Sometimes Sheldon also wore orange, violet, or indigo. These also had their meanings, although not as widely used as other colors of Sheldon's shirts. Orange meant greed or intense intellectual drive, while violet meant love or emotionally significant moments. Sheldon's shirts were actually an Easter egg, and the color of his shirt usually reflected his mood. It offered a clever and emotionally resonant layer to his character, and at the same time drawing from the beloved comic lore. The Big Bang Theory actually had a lot of details that fans never looked closely at, like Penny's fridge photos. Penny's fridge photos. Penny's fridge in The Big Bang Theory wasn't actually a set decoration. The fridge displays photos of Penny with other characters like Leonard, Amy, and Bernadette, as well as candid shots of the production crew. As her social circle expanded, these personal mementos even followed her as she moved in with Leonard. Basically, she had a bunch of pictures on her fridge that were just pictures of Kaley Cuoco's real-life friends. Even more, after the tragic passing of Carol Ann Suzy, who voiced Mrs. Wolowitz, added a heartfelt tribute by placing her photo on the fridge. It stood there as a poignant reminder in the background. It was a subtle tribute to the actress after she passed away, and it was there ever since then. If you watch scenes in Penny's room closely, you might notice some hidden gems in the fridge details. There's one behind-the-scenes still from Leonard's dream sequence with Penny, in an elevator shaft, featured as a fridge photo. These photos weren't random, but they were actually placed to enrich the environment. Only fans that looked closely would have noticed what was on Penny's fridge, but this fact might not be as weird as the fact that Leonard always wore lensless glasses. Did you notice that? Lensless glasses. From the very first season of The Big Bang Theory, Leonard Hofstadter's signature look included thick-framed glasses, but no one ever noticed that they contained no lenses. According to Johnny Galecki, he wanted to keep the glasses as part of his character's nerdy image. He once remembered that during rehearsal, the production team thought that the glasses were his personal pair. But once filming started, there was one problem. Since Leonard is much shorter than Sheldon, he had to frequently look up at him, and the studio lights would catch on the lenses. This caused a glare on camera, so they had to figure out a way to preserve the character look and also the clean visuals. Well, Johnny had some quick thinking, as he immediately removed the lens on the glasses. They remained lensless throughout the show's 12-season run. Although the choice wasn't practical, it cemented Leonard's identity. There were many times when other characters joked about his nearsightedness, adding another layer to the sitcom's humor. The Big Bang Theory creators had a lot of secrets with their dialogue, as fans had no idea that their favorite numbers were actually Easter eggs. Number Easter eggs. One of the weird facts that fans didn't know about The Big Bang Theory is that there was an Easter egg hidden in every important number. Sheldon Cooper's favorite number is 73. The show's explanation in the episode The Alien Parasite Hypothesis was that it was the 21st prime number, and its mirror, 37, is the 12th number. Then 7 multiplies 3 to give 21. In binary code, 73 is 1001001. All of this is a palindrome which Sheldon found interesting. But even more interesting was that the episode was the show's 73rd, and Jim Parsons was born in 1973, linking the character and the creator to the number. Another interesting Easter egg was hidden in Amy Farrar Fowler's apartment number, which was 314. This was a playful nod to the mathematical constant pi, reflecting her scientific character. And even when Will Wheaton appeared as himself on the show, his home address read 1701. This referenced the registry number of the USS Enterprise, NCC 1701D, honoring his Star Trek legacy. All of these are Easter eggs that only attentive fans would notice, but many fans had no idea what was scribbled on the whiteboard in Sheldon and Leonard's house. Well, it was quite authentic. Whiteboard authenticity. Throughout its run, there were always formulas written on the whiteboard, but fans didn't know that they were actually authentic. Throughout its run, The Big Bang Theory prioritized scientific accuracy thanks to Dr. David Saltzberg, a UCLA physicist serving as the series' dedicated science consultant. Each week, Saltzberg reviewed scripts and crafted fresh equations to adorn the whiteboards, ensuring rigorously correct formulas and occasionally incorporating real-world scientific developments. In fact, the authenticity of the whiteboards was so real that many other physicists, real researchers, even started submitting their own findings to be featured on the boards. For instance, in Season 7, Episode 4, The show intentionally included an equation directly lifted from Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was a known scientific error from the film, as a tongue-in-cheek Easter egg. Mayim Bialik, Ph.D. Although the creators tried to make the whiteboard more authentic, that didn't change the fact that most of the cast members had no idea what they were talking about as they played scientists. But one fact that you didn't know is that Mayim Bialik, who played Amy, holds a real doctorate in neuroscience, adding to the show's scientific credibility. Once she joined the cast, writers intentionally made her character a neurobiologist, so she could fact-check and correct scientific elements when needed. Other cast members, on the other hand, found the science-heavy dialogue a stretch. Jim Parsons admitted that many of the scientific jokes and diagrams went over his head. But even if he lacked a scientific background, he managed to deliver Sheldon's complex dialogue. He had to write all his lines on note cards and memorize them when walking around. He even put the cards on the wall around the set to remind himself, and hid them in notebooks so he could refer to them while acting. Superhero references. As the whiteboard and dialogue was quite authentic, the Big Bang Theory cast also tried to be real with their superhero references. But that wasn't so easy with the business politics behind the scenes. One of the weird facts that you didn't know about the Big Bang Theory is that they had to choose DC over Marvel. Although the Big Bang Theory frequently mentions both DC and Marvel characters, only DC heroes appeared visually in costumes, t-shirts, posters, and comic racks. The reason is straightforward. The show was produced and distributed by Warner Bros. Television, which also owns DC Comics. Featuring Marvel characters would require licensing, and such permissions are often costly or complicated. Characters like Sheldon were often shown repping DC heroes, like Flash, Green Lantern, Batman, Aquaman, and Superman, both on their clothing and during costume party episodes. All the characters were meant to be geeked, so fans wondered why they didn't also wear Marvel costumes. But there were only a few references, like Raj and Howard writing a song about Thor, or Stan Lee making a cameo, but they never really showed Marvel characters. The same way they repeated the DC costumes was the same way Penny kept on using the same purse. Penny's shirt and purse. Throughout the show's 12 seasons, Penny carried the same brown or red slouchy shoulder purse. It was a practical and a character-based choice. Even as her style changed over the next episodes, this accessory remained the same, although many fans didn't know. But one weird fact that you definitely didn't know about the Big Bang Theory is that Penny wore the same shirt in 3 episodes. Penny's signature light blue shirt with purple floral motifs showed a subtle narrative trend. She first wore it in the pilot episode where she met Leonard and Sheldon. Then she re-emerged in the 100th episode, marking that she had rekindled her relationship with Leonard. Finally, Penny wore it once more in the series finale during the iconic last scene where the gang gathers over takeout. Although this is interesting, it's not as interesting about the fact that Bob Newhart won an Emmy after one appearance on the show. Bob Newhart's Emmy. In 2013, Bob Newhart earned his first ever Primetime Emmy Award with his heartfelt and humorous portrayal of Arthur Jeffries, aka Professor Proton, on The Big Bang Theory. He won in the category Outstanding Guest Actor in a Comedy Series, making it a standout moment in a TV career spanning 6 decades. That year's win was particularly momentous. Not only did it honor his performance, but when he stepped on stage alongside Jim Parsons at the 65th Creative Arts Emmy Awards, the audience responded with a thunderous standing ovation. The Big Bang Theory had a lot of weird things happening where fans couldn't see, from the never-ending staircase and the number Easter eggs to the details hidden in the whiteboards and fridge photos. Which of these facts shocked you the most? Let's know your thoughts in the comments. So, thanks for watching this video.